So this is the part where I normally insert some sort of witty opening line, and this time I'm just hoping the costume works. Oh boy. So this is going to be a video about How to Get Away with Murder's 6th episode of its 6th season titled Family Sucks. It'll be a quick review with some new predictions and spoilers throughout, but before we get started, thank you for watching. Each week I take my top 3 interesting or entertaining theories or predictions you guys left in the comment section of my last video, and then I feature them at the end of this one. So be sure to stick around for that. I release new How to Get Away with Murder videos every Sunday, so hit subscribe and tap that thumbs up if you want to see more videos like this one. This was a strange episode. Like, things happened and other things happened, but not really enough to reveal anything new. Does that make sense? Regardless though, there was a lot of setup for what I think is gonna happen next, and we've got plenty to cover, and some new theories in the works, so let's get to it. This week we're gonna start it with our boy Nate. Last week I said, all I know is, F you, Nate, if you hook up with Cora to dig up dirt on Tegan, I will fight you and your abs. But technically they didn't hook up, so I'm in the clear. Seriously though, Nate will not let this Tegan thing go. He and Cora hang out for whatever reason, and he is trying hard to get at her. Like, he would have taken it all the way. But turns out Cora was playing him. Definitely wasn't thinking they'd go that route, but Cora was married to badass Tegan. Can you really be surprised? She sends a recording to Tegan, and Tegan confronts Nate, and he still doesn't believe she had nothing to do with Emmett or Nate Sr.'s death. Side note, I like how they revealed a little bit more about Tegan's past here. Like, I always wondered about her family, and then to find out they're all dead? That's rough. It makes sense why Tegan really clings to the people she loves, and it's so easy to sever the ones that she doesn't. And I'm also curious as to how it happened. Tegan is deathly afraid of Jorge Castillo, and I'm wondering if he had a hand in it, or he exploited her abandonment issues to control her. She ignored Nate when he acknowledged the loss of her family, so it makes me think it is gonna tie back in somehow, and we'll find out what happened. I am loving this Tegan development though. Speaking of which, I can't figure out Cora's motives. Like, first she breaks Tegan's heart, and then she goes out of her way to flirt with Nate and then trick him into admitting his evil master plan, and it's all to help Tegan? I mean, she could be doing it out of guilt, but then she did get a little jealous when Tegan mentioned Annalise. Girl, you cannot have it both ways. I mean, she can, because pretty sure she's bisexual, but you know what I mean. Cora also mentioned she doesn't want Nate digging into Tegan's past and uncovering things that Tegan doesn't want brought to light. Like, what? All I know is that means there's more to find out about Tegan. Me like it. Anyway, to prove her innocence with Nate, Tegan offers to file a wrongful death suit. And that finally means we may potentially be getting back to the governor. I can only imagine how boss Tegan would be in court, and then picturing her and Annalise owning it would probably be the highlight of my life. Yeah. Speaking of boss Tegan, the boss Tegan award this episode goes to that scene where Tegan fires Bonnie. With that said, let's move on to shady ass Bonnie. Other than lying to a discharged Frank about getting fired, not really much going on with Bonnie. I do think the show is ramping up to finally reveal the truth about Miller, because it was mentioned quite a few times throughout this episode. But first, I had no idea Frank's injuries are as bad as they were. Like, yikes. Oh yeah, we're gonna lump Frank right up into this one just because they're back on that Frank and Bonnie relationship thing. Franny, Brink. I don't know, they both sound awful, but they're making plans to leave again, and in filmmaking 101, the moment two characters make plans to run away together, one of them dies. One of their fates might have just been sealed just because Bonnie had to say, I'm not saying no to Oregon, and based on that flash forward, we probably have an idea of which one of them it might be. But you know, we're not gonna talk about that now. We always save that for last. Anyway, back to the whole Miller thing. So Frank's on meds, and we can see how loosey-goosey and sentimental he gets while he's on them. So Annalise swipes him, and then Bonnie realizes this, and she's like, So now she thinks something is up, and this ties right back into Bonnie finding out the truth about Miller soon. And speaking of truths, we're just gonna lump Connor right into this one, because turns out Bonnie's the reason that Connor was chosen for the Keating 5. Dun, dun, dun! Not gonna lie, I thought they were gonna pull something like this, especially after seeing Connor's passion in his first solo case. Plus, Connor was just so anxious to find out the truth about why he was chosen. I had a feeling it was gonna be solely based on his ability to actually be a good lawyer. Here's the thing though. The last 5 videos I've done nothing but call Bonnie a sneaky, sleuthing, shady ass person. And this entire season has almost been comprised of her lying. So why would this be the moment that she tells the truth? I don't buy it. She knows Annalise has so much on her plate right now and she's just trying to shut it down. And don't get me wrong, it all sounds great and peachy, but it was all just tied up a little bit too neatly. And that rhymed. I found its effects on Connor interesting too. Like, he was looking for a really good reason to be this terrible person. And then finding out he was chosen because he shut down a gay conversion camp. I feel like the guilt of being caught in this web of murders is slowly or quickly wearing down on him. Now, I wouldn't be mad if this indeed turns out to be true. We already have so much going on with Asher, Michaela, Gabriel, Tegan, Annalise. I'm just saying, I would not be surprised if this turns out to be a lie. Tell me what you think. Not now, wait till the video's done. Jeez. So Oliver was in this episode, and moving on, let's talk about Asher and just like all the millstones. As we saw at the end of the last episode, Asher comes home and then he and Chloe are trying to make her mom feel better, and I'll be honest, I'm not really that invested in this, so I'm just gonna skip the review portion and jump into some theories surrounding this whole story arc. Number 1, Chloe. Still don't trust her. It was brought to my attention that it kind of looks like she planted a bug in the Keating pad. What do you think? I mean, I personally think it's possible, and I wouldn't be surprised if the FBI did reach out to her. She doesn't seem like she has a lot going on right now. I mean, she's got no job, she's got no driver's license, she's used to having money and being spoiled, and I wouldn't be surprised if the FBI could use some incentives to get her to snoop or possibly become the informant. After all, she's shown up at their house not once, but twice, and Asher doesn't even live there. Plus, it's not like she could have tailed or followed Asher. She doesn't have a car. So it kind of seems like she's got some insider information here. And number 2, Asher's mom still blaming Asher for his father's death. And props to Ash for standing up for himself. He could have probably done it at a better time with a little better tact, but I do think the scene was specifically to remind us of Asher's temper. I mentioned this with St. Clair. If Asher's pushed far enough, he explodes, running people over, throwing dishes, maybe beating someone with a fireplace poker, who knows? But something does happen because of that new flash forward we got, but we'll get to that. Right now we're gonna talk about the main plot thread, Annalise, Michaela, and Solomon. They're all kinds of intertwined in this episode. I'll try to get to this quick because it's a lot, but turns out all Annalise has on Solomon is the fact that she looked over Michaela at Middleton. Boy, did I go off the deep end in my last video with theories. Annalise basically wants Solomon to create a new identity for her so she can leave the country. And while all this is going on, the Keating crew finally go on the offense and they submit a restraining order against the Castillos. Apparently, the Castillos' lawyer knows about Solomon and his relationship with Annalise and Michaela, which that's concerning. Oh yeah, and Gabriel's all suspicious and stuff because the students are meeting with Annalise and being all secretive and stuff. Then Annalise kills it in court again, which I've been itching for. Solomon and Annalise were definitely a thing in the past, and I love the fact that Michaela says, please tell me you're not my mother, because anything is possible at this point. And finally, Michaela tells Solomon never to contact her again and rips the check. Okay, let's break this down. We got to really find out exactly how bad Michaela's childhood was growing up, and it just says so much about her character. Not necessarily her character in the show, but just like her character in general to persevere. She's stubborn AF, but why shouldn't she be? Clearly this man didn't want her. Plus, I'm pretty sure she just sees right through Solomon's crap. I still don't think he genuinely wants to be her father despite how many times he says it. Now he wants to swoop in and save her? No, Michaela would never. You know what Michaela would do though? Cheat on her man. Okay, I'm kidding. Plus, I'm pretty sure she and Gabriel haven't defined the relationship yet, so... Anyway, she and Asher kiss, maybe more, and I'm just gonna say it bluntly, I'm not on board with this. The thing with this situation, they both gravitated towards each other at a time of extreme betrayal in their lives. Of course they're gonna run back to the one and constant thing that they have. I don't think this is gonna stick, and we all know that Gabriel will find out, and it's gonna push him further away from the Keating crew and right into their arms of the FBI. First the secretive meetings with Annalise, and then Michaela possibly hooking up with Asher. That is how you make enemies, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we don't know the full extent of Annalise and Solomon's past relationship, but we do know it was romantic, and to top it off, apparently the Castillo's lawyers know that Solomon is Michaela's birth father. So I didn't mention this, but they win the restraining order, and Annalise has everyone destroy their phones because she's pretty sure the Castillos have been tapping their calls. But here's the thing, it could also have been a bug. like I mentioned with Chloe. Or it could be the informant leaking this information if it is indeed someone on the inside like Xavier said. Sorry, off topic. Okay, so at the end of the episode, Annalise does get her new identity, her passports, and a brand new phone. They are really trying to sell this Annalise fakes her own death and or leaves the country thing, and then it hit me. How to Get Away with Murder does this thing with saying one thing, making you believe it's another, only in the end to reveal that it's something completely different. So, first they say she dies. Now they're saying she's trying to leave the country. So any natural viewer will put together, oh, she's gonna fake her own death to leave the country. But if my calculations are correct, that means something else completely different off the wall that we are not going to see coming is going to happen. Now, do I know what that is? No. And hopefully you guys have some good theories, because I don't think she dies. I don't think she fakes her death, but something completely off the wall is probably gonna happen. And I have no idea if this makes sense. And I'm totally confused myself at this point. So I'm just gonna move right on to the flash forward. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Asher shows up at Bonnie's house and he has blood on his shirt. So what this reveals is that Bonnie and Asher are alive and presumably not the informant. I repeat, Asher, Bonnie, Michaela, Connor, and Tegan are confirmed to be alive. The obvious answer is Asher kills someone. And if we're connecting it to last week's flash forward, that person would be Gabriel. But I think there's a lot more to it though. I do think Asher was involved, but I don't think he was the killer. Again, too obvious. I think he was involved in a way where either he was checking the body fell on him, or maybe even the blood just spattered on him. Like he was there, but he didn't kill anyone. In fact, I want to use this time to narrow down some potential victims and suspects. Oliver, I still think is an option to be the victim, but I'm actually leaning more towards him being the murderer. Gabriel I thought to be much more of the murderer before, but now after seeing how betrayed he's probably about to be, I feel like he's more of the informant slash victim. And as I'm beginning to do this, I'm realizing this is gonna be an entire video on its own. So I'm gonna speed it up. Solomon, Chloe, Sally from rehab, Cora, Laurel, the governor, Ravi, the threesome guy, could be Xavier, Hannah, Vivian even, could all possibly be the informant. Really at this point, I'm grasping at straws and this episode didn't really reveal enough for me to make a solid decision on who this informant slash victim could be. Quick discovery though, and I want your opinion on it because it could quite possibly change everything. So in the flash forward of last week's episode, is this 2 pools of blood or just 1? Pause and rewind if you have to, but let me know in the comment section below what you think. Anyway, the ending of this video just really went to shit and got fully disorganized, but I've been a little scatterbrained lately just because I'm in the process of moving, as you can probably see around me. But next week you'll see me in a brand new location, so yay! All right, and let's get to our top 3 favorite predictions and theories from last week's video's comment section. Take it away, Maleficent. So the first one was from Olga Mateo. Oliver is not the informant and kills the actual informant, because it's a little too obvious that he is the informant. And I agree. I think everything is pointing in a direction towards Oliver being the informant, which most case scenario means he's not. Victoria Urano has a bunch of theories here. I'm just gonna read them off one by one. Laurel has gone under witness protection to start a new life, and that's where she's at. Annalise fakes her death with the help of Eve or Bonnie after admitting to all the crimes, so the kids are actually set free, but Annalise is free in her own way because she's escaping out of the country. The informant is either Asher or Gabriel, and the FBI thinks Michaela killed them because she has a history with both of them, but it's actually Nate who's lost all sense of boundaries after his dad's death, and he wants to send the governor a message. I think these are all great and actually make the most sense, especially if Carla Souza's not returning to the show or she has a very, very minor role. It would make sense that she's actually in witness protection. And I love the thought of Eve helping Annalise disappear and Nate finally breaking and really trying to stick it to the governor. And then the last one is from Renee Saunders. Oliver's the informant and the one that dies. Now I know I said I think Oliver is no longer the informant, but this theory actually made a lot of sense because of his hacking ability. He might have been the one that hacked into Annalise's bank account and cleared all the money. And that would explain Oliver and Connor's trust issues. Back to you, Todd. As always, thank you so much for watching. My channel has recently grown exponentially, and it's because of you. And I'm just so happy that I'm able to talk about a show I'm so obsessed with because most of my friends haven't even heard about the show. Mind you, I don't have a lot of friends. But let me know what you thought about this episode down below. And who's your top pick for the dead informant and the person that deads the informant? Comment below and let's talk about it. If you want to see my past How to Get Away with Murder videos, click one here. And then don't forget to hit that thumbs up. It really helps me out. Then subscribe with a side notification bell. Until next time, shine on, you crazy diamonds.